Steve N. Allen is with us. Let's move to this story. Steve, official figures revealing that Labour's Chagos deal is going to apparently cost 10 times more than it claimed. Let's have a listen to what Keir Starmer said about the cost back when it was first announced.
This cost is part and parcel of using Britain's global reach to keep us safe at home. And it will be less than the cost of running one aircraft carrier for a year. Today's agreement is the only way to maintain the base in the long term.
Now, this is interesting, Steve. I'm convinced nobody really knows what the hell is going on here, including the people that carved out the deal, because it seems... I mean, the whole thing seems upside down. Here's something we already own, which we've sold to someone else, and then we're going to pay them to lease some of it back. I mean, that just seems all shades of muddled up. But the eye-watering headline from all of this today is that apparently it's going to cost 10 times more than was first announced.
Yeah, and it's all to do with some sort of accountancy trick, as if we didn't already hate accountants enough. It just seems shady, doesn't it? Like, it feels like a meeting was done saying, is there any way we could spin this? Can we get the spreadsheet guy? Can we get the spreadsheet guy to find a way to make a number look small enough? We're going with that one, and we will disavow any other number that gets thrown at it. One of my favourite clips I heard played earlier on was when people were, Keir Starmer was throwing around this 3.4 billion, and people were saying, no, it's likely to be 9. And there's an interview where he said they were way off. I mean, he's right. They were way off with 9 billion. He's sneaky. You got to watch out for this, haven't you? Because if it's over 30, then yeah, I mean, I guess he wasn't lying during that bit. But it doesn't mean that we trust politicians. Why do they do this? By doing this, and you get caught out at some point. Now means, well, do we ever trust any numbers that you ever talk about ever again? Because if we don't trust the numbers that come out of politicians, there's not an awful lot left. Because their game really is numbers, isn't it? Especially when you've got the economy involved.
Indeed, it's all about the numbers. We did contact the government and say, what's going on here? They replied with this. They say the Diego Garcia military base is essential to the security of the UK and our key allies. The average cost is £101 million per year, and the net present value of payments is £3.4 billion. This is less than 0.2% of the annual defence budget. They say the cost compares favourably with other international base agreements, and the UK-US base in Diego Garcia is larger, in a more strategic location, and has unparalleled operational freedom. Now, that's all fine, but they don't address the question of where the figure of 10 times the original cost came from. They're sticking with it, to quote a phrase.
Yeah, and also if you look at the first sentence, the last sentence in there, it's an important base, it's a strategic location, it's so crucial. Maybe we should have kept it then. It very much feels like you're making a very good argument about why we should have kept it rather than giving it away and then paying for the... I mean, it's amazing, isn't it? I know they're meant to be a party that doesn't particularly like landlords, but then don't make Mauritius one. It feels that's what you've done. You've made them a landlord, and then we're going to pay them so much money that the people who live over there will be paying way less tax than we are at a time when we've paid some ridiculously high amounts of tax. It's just so badly done, isn't it? A lot of these stories come down to optics. If you do believe that we had some sort of international obligation to rectify this, then do it in a way that doesn't bankrupt us at a time when we don't have a lot of cash.
I mean, did any government at any time of whatever party ever give a figure for something that was going to be done? HS2 springs to mind, and it not cost a lot more than was originally said. Well, we'll leave that point hanging. We'll come back to it shortly. Let's move to this story. Labour freeing over 26,000 criminals from jail early, including hundreds of serious offenders who were given more than 10 years in the clink. This was the Prime Minister, of course, that was suggesting that it was a bad thing when the Tories were caught doing this. Let's have a listen to Starmer on the early release scheme.
Well, I am critical of the Tories' early release scheme because what's happened is that they're releasing early prisoners who should still be in prison.
Yeah. And now, so is he.
The definition of it.
That's literally, yeah, that's right. That's literally. What the problem with the prisoner early release scheme is they're releasing prisoners early who should be in prison. Yeah, that's kind of the point. But anyway, 26,000 more have managed to walk to freedom since Labour came to power. What are we making of this, Steve?
So we're not doing prison anymore. That's what we're finding out.
Yes.
Turns out it's not a thing. I mean, I know they were letting people out at 50% the way through their sentence anyway, which kind of feels like giving in on prison, and reducing that down to 40, just because, you know, every time we've talked about this and we've shouted, build more prisons, and they've not done. That's why. That's what this is about. But at least when it was happening before, we were promised that it wouldn't be violent criminals and the kind of people that would be released. You want them back in your community. Oh, you'll be hugging them like David Cameron in a hoodie. You would absolutely love to see these people back. But then it turns out the people getting 14 years. You're a bit of a wrong'un. You're a bit of a tasty wrong'un if you've had 14 years as a sentence. I mean, especially in a world where, you know, you pick up the Daily Mail and you find out that no one's getting sentenced to anything these days. So to get 14 years in the clink, you've done something wrong, but they're the kind of people we're getting back out. Can I just read? There's a bit in the Daily Mail coverage which just blows my mind. People jailed for sex crimes, terrorism and serious violence offences are excluded, but offenders sentenced to less than 4 years can be freed, including people convicted of manslaughter.
Yeah.
Less than 4 years being convicted of manslaughter.
I mean, that in
just
itself,
not like the victim.
Yeah, that's the headline a headline in itself, of course.
Yeah.
But this ultimately, as we all know, is not to do with some sort of philosophical belief that this early release is going to contribute to rehabilitation. This is down to the fact we haven't got enough prison places, and we need to make some room for the new recruit of criminals.
But they won't be there long. I mean, we'll put the new criminals will be in there. They'll be
Yep.
released early. I think fundamentally what I'm saying is the problem with the early prisoner release scheme is that this scheme releases prisoners early. And that's fundamentally what's wrong with it.
That is fundamentally the problem. Let's go to this story. The number of small boat migrants to reach Britain under Labour is set to hit 50,000. Another 435 arrived on Saturday alone. Watch this space this week, of course. The weather is glorious out there. The tranquil sea that is the English Channel will be a magnet to anyone wanting to leg it from France to the UK. So increase of 50% with nearly 20,000 arrivals in the first half of this year alone. This is not going to end well for this government by the tail end of 2025, Steve.
No, that's true. And I mean, I'm sure the French will be helping to keep that number down by really limiting all of their departures. They won't be. They'll be taking our £500 million and just all these French police officers looking out of a window, just smoking, just some sort of film noir style as they spend our money on something else as the boats make their way across. But Macron was right. For the kind of people who ordinarily would be, you know, loving Macron and hating the Daily Mail and all the way that you can have your siloed points of view, you've got Macron saying part of the issue, and you will never fully manage to smash the gangs if you still have pull factors, incentives, if you have a reason for people to make that last bit of the trip, then until you solve that, you'll never solve anything. Macron was right. You would have thought trying to get that message to Starmer through Macron would be better in the same way that if ever we've had a row and I say something to my missus and she totally ignores me, but then one of her friends says the same thing later and she'll say, you never guess what Tracy said. I'm like, oh, well, you don't take that information from me because you got a problem with me for some reason. That's what you'd imagine the left and right would do on this issue. So, yeah, you can't just smash it. You can smash a gang, but the gang gets replaced while ever there is demand for a service. Yeah. So this will continue until you find a reason for people not to make that last bit of the journey. Do I think one in, one out is going to do it? No. I mean, I don't think anyone does. I think the one in, one out scheme is effectively something for a press release so that the government can say, well, we have this deal in place. No one thinks it's going to scratch the surface. No. So until you find a way of actually making it not worth the trip, and we all agree, like left and right, no one thinks that trip should be happening. It's dangerous. It costs lives. Find a different solution. But at the moment, there's nothing on the table, is there?
No, nothing at all. Steve, on that point, we finish. Steve N. Allen, the comedian and broadcaster, thank you to him.